when last we wandered these myriad plains. His dark eyes narrow. He begins to look suspicious as well as angry. I said what I said. Perhaps you should try speaking my language, Two Legs. And still, we journey on. Well, now that we have completed our quests, well, the quest for the false dustman, we should probably continue with exploring this ward of the hive. To get the Zerai townsfolk. This is one of your people here, Dakan. This Gith turns to face you as you approach. Like Dakan, he has a yellow cast to his skin and a gaunt frame. His clothing is a curious blend of sharp colors and dull, mud-stained browns. The Gith's dead black eyes flicker over Dakan, then you. Greetings. The man ignores you and turns to Dakan instead. He speaks several clipped words in a low tongue, which you cannot understand. His expression doesn't change as he speaks, nor does he make any hand motions, so you can't even hazard a guess at what he's saying. Dakan replies with an arrow flight of words in the same tongue, and the Githzerai falls silent. What's he saying, Dakan? The Githzerai turns to you as you speak, then turns back to Dakan and speaks again. This time at great length. Dakan replies. It sounds like the same arrow flight of words as before. The Githzerai falls silent again. Dakan says something else, and the Githzerai responds with another lengthy stream of words. Dakan, can you ask him some questions for me? Dakan turns to the Githzerai and speaks, this time at a slower, more measured pace than before. The Githzerai's reply is a short one. What did he say? I'm wondering if Dakan and his fellow Githzerai here are at odds or something. Oh, he speaks the common tongue, or whatever tongue I speak. Your words are known to me, the Githzerai interrupts. Face me and speak your mind. I will hear you. Very well. I had some questions. Ak ale drowning. I'm sorry. Your question is a stab in the dark, an arrow without direction. His forehead wrinkles. The answer to this question would fill the mind of an anarch. There is no time for such an answer. Tell me plainly what you wish known. All right. So we have to be very, very specific. Let's just go down the list. I don't know if we'll actually get to ask all of these, but what can you tell me about the Lady of Pain? It is said she is the queen of this city. Her mind is not known to me. I had some other specific questions about the city. I seek someone named Farad. Do you know of him? That one is not known to me. Alrighty. Have you seen my journal? That object is not known to me. Okay then. Oh, this is interesting. Can you tell me about Dakan? He walks with you. His forehead creases. How is it he is not known to you? I was hoping you could tell me something about him. He is not speechless. If you would know him, put the questions to him. Do not insult us both by treating one as a statue. Okay, sorry, did not mean to imply that I didn't trust Dakan or whatever. I just was given the option, so I shot my mouth off. Can you tell me where this city is located? This city touches all places. What do you mean? I mean, we know it's a door to many planes. We've already gathered that from, Kandrian, the Planeswalker. This city is a cage with many doors. Each door touches another place. Yes. Why do you call the city a cage? Any structure with locked doors is a cage. Locked doors? What do you mean? Every door in this cage is locked. Each door has its own key. Only then may you leave. Well, we know that the doors are everywhere within a bonded space, but let's see what his answer is. Everywhere. They number as many as the places they touch. Places like where? The doors of this cage lead to everywhere. Every plane. Every world. I mean, I do understand, but for the sake of the story, I don't understand. It is difficult to understand. It is not difficult to accept. Okay, then. Other questions. Can you tell me where I might find work? There is little work here. You can hunt rats for bounties. You can gather the dead. There are bounties on rats? The city pays for rat tails. Take them to one of their vermin control offices. Ooh, and I think we have a quest to actually speak to someone at a vermin control office. And I also think we have a few rat tails on us. What was that other job you mentioned? Gathering the dead. Many die every night in this city. Take the dead to the men of dust. They will buy the body. The dustmen will pay for the dead. Why? And again, we know the answer to this, but we are trying to ferret out what else may be known. The men of dust care for the dead. They perform last rites on each corpse. Alright, go on. Many die. The men of dust cannot gather them all themselves. They do not want the dead to remain in the streets. They pay others to bring them the dead. Okay. Anything else you can tell me? Can you tell me what there is of interest around here? You are not known to me. What is interesting to you may not interest me. Yes, we know about work, so that seems to be everything. Never mind. I am sorry to trouble you. That was interesting. And speaking of speaking to our companions, can we speak with Dakan, perhaps?
What is your will?
Dakan turns to you, his eyes like polished coal. His blade mirrors his eyes for a moment as you address him, then he nods. There are things that I would know, Dakan. I will hear you. I wanted to ask about your travels. Dakan waits. What can you tell me about the city of Sigil? It is known by the name of Sigil. Among the people, it is known as the city that does not know itself. Okay, we went through this in our initial conversation. Let's ask about other things. Yes, can I talk to you about your teachings? Dakan waits. Ooh, can we get him to go ahead and teach us to become a mage? I was thinking that I had to become a mage through another NPC first, but maybe not. Know that I am not a teacher in this, but know that I may serve as a guide. I do not know how humans come to be versed in the art, but when you learn the art, return and ask me again. Okay, so I have to be a mage. Let's ask about the art of weapon craft. Dakan shakes his head. I can redirect one towards the craft of war, but I cannot advance their skill. My weapons are not of steel, but of will, and knowing of the self. Okay? So he can switch us between fighter and mage after we learn mage. So that is good to know. Never mind. Let's go. Okay, let's just keep a sharp eye out here. Miriam. I'm looking for a particular person here.
All right. Being watched, Chief.
Oh.
Just look natural.
Okay.
Casual.
Who's watching us? There's some merchants.
I'm gone.
Is it this person here, Iron Niles?
Done.
Reekening, that's who I'm looking for. Alright, let's engage with this NPC. Quick save. This man is looking at you with a strange, bug-eyed stare. His eyes are huge. So huge, they look ready to pop out of his sockets and roll across the cobblestones. He nods eagerly as you approach, bobbing his head like a bird. And as you near him, you suddenly notice the smell of urine and feces surrounding him. Greetings. The man sniffles, wiping his nose on his sleeve, then opens his mouth to reveal blackened, rotted gums. Stories for coin, sirrah. His breath reeks. It smells like this man has been keeping rotten meat stored inside his mouth. Stories for coins. Okay, so unfortunately, we do have to engage with this cesspool of a person. You will see why, hopefully, as it goes on. Who are you? The man snorts, thick with phlegm. Names. Who are you? Who you are? His head does a slight twitch every time he repeats himself. Names. Dangerous. He glances at the ground and stirs the dirt with his foot. And what do you mean, dangerous? Knowing a name or being stuck with one. Both's a mess of trouble. He looks back up at you. My name's a given name, not one asked for. Reekening. Once again, you become conscious of his reeking breath and the smell of urine and feces that surrounds him. A given name. And here is one thing we don't want to say. If we say this, we become more evil, I think, or maybe more chaotic. Anyway, it's an alignment change we don't wish. Or maybe, the name fits you well is the bad one. So, to be safe, I'm going to answer, is that your real name? Not my true name. Reekening mumbles on, his head twitching every time he says name. A true name's a dangerous thing, gives others power. He stares at you with his huge eyes and wags his finger. Keep your name a secret, keep it close, never let it out. What do you mean? He may be alluding to the fact that in some lore about magic or whatever, that certain spells or things can be worked on you by knowing your true name. That may be the case in this game as well. I can't honestly remember. Names are like smells. Things can track you with them. Reekening coughs, his eyes almost popping out of his skull as he does so. His cough seems to loosen his bowels, for he breaks wind loudly, as if to accentuate his point. If someone knows a true name, it gives them power. He licks his lips. The power to hurt. I don't know my true name.
Updated my journal.
Reekening's eyes widen. Seeing his eyeballs bulge even larger makes you uneasy. then you are blessed. Then you are blessed, blessed. Remain nameless, and you shall be as a spirit on the plains, untraceable, untrackable, unseen, undiscovered. He smacks his gums wetly. A name chosen, a name given. It allows others to find you and hurt you. Have you been hurt, Reekening? Reekening gives a twitchy nod, then scratches himself. Let my name slip once. Once. Only once. Only once. His eyes film over as if the memory is painful, then glances at you uneasily. Tell you the story I can, I will. But 3 coppers must I see. His face splits into a smile as he says the word coppers, and his reeking breath hits you like a hammer. Very well. Here's 3 coppers. We really never want to take any lying options, as that tilts our alignment the wrong way. Reekening gets into a stance, looks left, looks right, then faces you. His face clenches, then, with a grunt, he breaks wind again. The smell nearly levels you. Okay, but he takes no notice. Cursed I. Walk the wards in splendor. He stands up stiffly, nose high in the air. He saunters back and forth, nodding to invisible passers-by. Listen.
Updated my journal.
Reekening freezes, his arms akimbo. Crossed paths with a crossed one. Had the looking of a pumpkin, his seeds, curses. Reekening then thrusts his belly out so as to appear fat, slicks back his hair with his filthy palm so he looks almost bald, and begins drumming his fingers on his fat belly. He then walks about, circling the spot where his stuffy upper-class persona used to be. All a jumble with curses this one once was. All a jumble with curses this one was. With a sneer and a careless gesture, Reekening tosses an invisible curse at the stuffy persona. We will continue to listen. Knew my name. Let it slip I had. All it took it all. He stiffens up again, inhaling deeply and resuming his upper-class persona. The persona suddenly crumples, and Reekening breaks wind violently, then exhales, filling the air with his foul, reeking breath. Cursed with stenches, smells, excrement, came here to tell tales. All good for now. Now Reekening is the name, given name. I see. I had some other questions. Questions? Reekening hunches over, regarding you warily with his huge eyes. Answers? Okay, so he was cursed by a fat person that is bald? I guess we should ask. Let's see if what happened to you just gets us the same explanation. Yeah, let his name slip. Not today. Farewell. We need to speak with him again, though, because I want his other stories, and we will then deal with these hive thugs that are aggroed on us afterwards. Greetings. I had some other questions. I'd like to hear a story. Tell you a story I will, but 3 coppers must I see. Very well. Here's 3 copper. He takes the copper, gums it, then to your surprise, he swallows it. Best purse there is, belly. He gives a reeking wheeze. A story. He smacks his lips, scratching his dirty rags. Okay. Wait for him to choose a story. Spireward. He points to his left, at the charred alley in the distance. An alley of dangerous angles. He bends his limbs in a twisted parody of one of the skeletal buildings. Not always angled. Not always burned and charred. Once alive, no longer. Yes, we learned that Ignis burned the alley. Flames, fire. He flings his hands up in the air, then waves them to simulate flames. The alley burned, great smoke, ash everywhere. In the end, only skeletons of the buildings left. Bones of dead buildings, bones of dead buildings. Angles everywhere, angles. Listen.
Updated my journal.
He hunches forward, his voice a whisper. Again, the stench from his body hits you like a wave. Dangerous now. Bad men have set up their kip there. He bows, then breaks wind in quick spurts, like a bugle blowing. I am getting cracked up by their descriptions of Reekening's bodily odors here. That is the tale of how a street becomes an alley of dangerous angles. How did the fire start? He makes a semicircle over his heart. A man made it so. A beast made it so. A man whom even fiends admire. Who? A sorcerer's tale, filled with madness, sadness, burning, yearning. A tale I can tell, a tale I can tell I will, but 3 coppers must I see. He hisses, then cackles in a way that reminds you of a fire burning. A dangerous tale, a dangerous tale. Very well, here's your 3 coppers. A sorcerer there was, no simple hedge wizard this, but a mage of power. Reekening brings his hands together reverently, then smiles evilly. He burned with the art, and the art burned him. The name given him was Ignis, a name respected, then feared, then hated, then punished. Reekening gives a rattling wheeze, then claws the air and hisses, apparently imitating Ignis. Taught by one of the great magi Ignis was, and as an apprentice, Ignis learned much, and nothing at the same time. Reekening shakes his head sadly. In his heart, his coal black heart, a fire blazed. It burned, and it hungered. Reekening claws at his chest, as if in pain. As it hungered, Ignis hungered. It was his wish to see the plains burn. In the night, Reekening hunches down and begins to slowly stalk in the direction of the alley, a mad grin on his face. Ignis came to the alley that was to be the alley of angles, and the fire in his eyes, the fire in his heart, both he let out. Reekening points at the alley, then flings his arms in the air, silently screaming and laughing at the same time. Flesh ran like wax, people like candles, and Ignis laughed. Reekening crumples to the ground, his body racked with imagined pain. An evil was done, and forgotten not. He stands up, then hunches over, looks left, looks right, then starts mumbling, as if secretly in a conference with someone. Something was to be done. He stands up stiffly, his face resolute. A punishment was decided. All the hedge wizards, midwives, rune tellers, copper-pinching witches, all manner of magelings. They came all, even those with the smallest trace of the art, to punish Ignis. Separately they were flies. He made a buzzing noise with his rotten gums. Together, dangerous. He hums, then raises his hands. Caught Ignis, granted his wish. He swirls his hands as if casting a spell. He wished to burn. They granted it. Using his own desire to fuel the casting, they made his body a door to the plane of fire. They intended to kill him.
Updated my journal.
Failed. Reekening breaks wind again, as if to accentuate the failure of the wizards. Ignis lived, only slept. Blankets of flames turned in his sleep as he burned, never happier. He shuts his eyes, wraps his arms around himself and turns slowly, burning, ever burning. His eyes suddenly snap open. One day he will wake, and then the plains shall burn. An unfortunate tale. I had other questions for you.